Good morning, stampers and crafters. Welcome to Tina's Crafty Ink Spot. I'm Tina. I'm coming to you today to start our 6-part series on Stampin Blends 101 course. Now, I get asked a lot about coloring, and I'm self-taught, so whatever I teach you today is what in this series of 6 is what I've learned over the years and how to color using alcohol markers. This one I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so obviously this one I'm going to do this series based using Stampin' Up! Alcohol markers. The course is going to include some light source theory. It's going to break down pretty well, but by breaking it into 6 separate sessions, you're not overwhelmed all at once, and you're also not watching hours of a video all at once to try to figure out what's going on. So our very first session, we're going to jump right in. Our very first session is about marker charting. Now, the importance of marker charting is that whenever you color a picture, okay, you have to normally, when you're using alcohol markers, determine what colors you're going to use that are going to give you the 3 to 4 colors that you basically need to create a dimensional image. Okay, now when we stamp our images, they're single. Okay, you're taking a flat image, and we're going to be able to, with markers and shading and using light sources, we're going to be able to turn that flat image into something with dimension that's just going to kind of pop off the page at off your card. Okay, it's not going to be flat. It's going to show texture and shadows and dimension and highlights, and that's what we want to get to. Okay, now a lot of people, even when I started, I'd look at an image going, wow, I'd really like to color that nice, but then I knew it was going to take me forever to figure out how to do it. I'm hoping with this series of classes that I'm going to show you that we're going to have little practice sheets. We're going to have basically a little bit of homework, stuff that we're going to go through together. Now, if you implement these things, it's actually only 5 classes. The 6th class, we're going to take everything we learn and we're going to put it into one image, okay? So in these 5 sessions, we're going to break it down, and we're going to make it easier so that if you practice these certain little tips and tricks, you won't be so intimidated when you see an image. And when you start doing this more often, you create habits, you're going to see an image and boom, boom, you're going to color it, that card is done, and you move on to the next, okay? That is kind of my hope. That's how I do it. I love to color. I love anything like that, so I wanted to share it with you. I've looked online to see if anybody else has taught some Stampin' Blend classes. There are a few. There's some that are years old, and they're good. But I want to break it down a little bit farther than just grabbing some markers and saying, here, color like me. I want to give you the tools you need to look at an image and know how you want to color it. Know how to pick your colors for what you want that image to look like. Okay? Alright, I'll quit jabbering. Now, today's course is simply charting your markers. When we do this, when we chart our markers, it gives us the ability for a quick reference to see, one, what we have available in our repertoire of ink or markers. It also, a lot of times, now Stampin' Up! color coats their lids, okay? And it's really close to the colors you want. And they do coordinate with Stampin' Up! Colors. Okay, now Stampin' Up! Does not have Stampin' Blends for every single color in their repertoire or catalog, but they do have enough of a assortment in the color wheel in which to achieve pretty much anything you need to, okay? Some of them, they retire. Some of them are probably going to stay as long as the colors stay within Stampin' Up! I created this chart for you, and I left it fairly... Now mine I put in plastic, okay? Now this is done on cardstock. And I have included below on this blog post the PDFs to create these charts, okay? Now I put mine into a plastic clear sheet protector, and I lay it on my desk or put it next to my markers, and I always have it, okay? When you are doing this, I've labeled, okay, pinks, reds, oranges, yellows, greens, so on and so forth, okay? And I've given you plenty of spaces that you can do like I do, is I still include the colors that have retired. Because just because a color retires doesn't mean I'm going to stop using it. I invested in that marker. And that seems to me to be a waste. I'm not going to throw it away. And it can be used, okay? That is your preference. You can put on here only current colors. That's entirely up to you, okay? I've left a mark where you can put the name of your marker. You have a blank space here, which you can either put, maybe you want to put the item number from the catalog there. Entirely up to you. You may want to make a note there, you know, whether or not it's in color or neutrals or whatever. A lot of people do their stuff by that way. Or you can do like I do. I just mark whether or not a color I'm about to use is retired. Okay. So when you get this chart, well, you're going to print this chart. Okay. There's a PDF below, printed on the basic white cardstock. The cardstock that Stampin' Up! Uses is an excellent cardstock for using alcohol markers. Now there is specialty paper out there you can buy for using alcohol markers. It's more of a professional paper. You want to use that, that's entirely up to you. It's going to have different tints of white than the stuff you're doing with your cards, but that too is up to you. The Stampin' Up! Basic white cardstock is a very good quality cardstock, okay, and it works great for using alcohol markers. Once you print this, okay, on the sheet, let me see if my camera will focus on that. I've got where you put the name. You put either your item number, retired, or whatever you'd like for a little note in there. I've also got a box that says light and dark. Okay, so what you'll do is you're going to take your markers, label what it is, and just color in the squares. Okay, it doesn't have to be super neat. You are basically trying to have yourself a reference of the colors that are available to you and how they look when they're already down on cardstock, okay? Now, when you're using Copics or Spectrum Noir, I think there's some other brands out there. Normally what you have to do, and I'm going to show you how intimidating it is you have to take all of these colors and try to come up to 3 or 4 that will coordinate together. And you have to use it by trying to pick from this spectrum of colors. But what Stampin' Up! Has done is they've, sorry about that, I spilled a little coffee on my thing this morning right after I printed it. Oops, my bad. Anyway, Stampin' Up! Has taken the majority of the work out of choosing your colors to color with. Okay? We're going to go into light source and things like that, the theory, next session. And it basically describes that you need highlights, you need midtones, you need darks, and you need shadows and cast shadows, okay? That means you need a minimum 3 colors, okay? Even though Stampin' Up! Sells these in 2 colors, you can either take another color that is close to create your highlights, or we've got the blender, okay? I'm going to show you how to do all that. I'm going to show you how you can even, if you like that lightest color, how to go darker without having to worry about finding another marker that's going to go here. Now that's all stuff we're going to go into, okay? I'll do that in our light source therapy and on our blending. Okay, so the next session will be light source. The third session, I'm going to teach blending, the ways to blend and how to create color groups, which is a really important thing you need to know on how to do. But for your homework, I want you to create this blending chart with the markers you have on hand. Okay? I've also included, Stampin' Up! Came up with their new natural tones. Okay? I've included a blank natural tones chart for you. I'm going to show you, and I put mine in a plastic sleeve so I have it. This again is for the same reason. If you're wanting to color a dog picture, you can look here and go, wow, okay, I really like the way number 600 and number 700 blend. Okay, this chart works like that, where your colors are coming together to what they are. So number 800 and number 700 blended together is going to look like that. I'm going to start this for you on a blank I have, so you have an idea of what I'm saying on how to fill out this chart. Okay, what I've done is I've labeled all of the markers. So the new natural tones are numbered from 100 to 1000 in 100 increments. Okay, so I'm going to take, right now I currently have mine written on here. So here's number 100, here's number 200, 3, and 4. Okay, so what you want to do is take your 100. You can use your feather tip or your bullet tip, whichever you are comfortable in using. So you've got 100 meeting up with 100 in this square right here. So that means that entire square is going to be colored in with just number 100. Okay? And color it in right there. Okay? So now, if we take number, we move it over 1, and we have 100 and 200. So we want to blend those two together to see what color it's going to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and this is a blending technique called feathering, which I'll be teaching later. You're just going to do half of your square with number 100. Then you're going to come in with number 200, and you're going to blend back over that. Now when I teach blending, I'm going to go over how you do that. And it's how you're going to pretty much color everything. And you can see that this is a very subtle blend, you see, on this particular color. Okay, so this is just going to tell you how 2 colors in the natural set are going to blend. So what you should end up with, you just continue on that way. Okay, so this one, number 2 and number 1, you'll do a blend. Okay, so you'll take number 2 or number 1, whichever. Where's my number 2? So you're going to take number 2, color half the square, and you're going to blend it with number 100. So it's kind of duplicating. Okay, so you can do them opposite of what you did here. Okay, so if you're at aisle 2, do number 200, blending over number 100. Okay, go ahead, use your, oh, I did ink all over me. That's why I got my name. Go ahead and do your homework. That's these. Fill out your charts. You're going to love that you did this, because having these color references saves you a lot of time from making swatches and trying to determine, wow, is that light green really going to go with that green? It may not, okay? But you'll be able to see exactly what you're looking for on your chart, okay? And I've made it with many extra spaces for you. So as Stampin' Up! Adds new markers, you'll be able to add them to your chart, okay? Or you're going to have a copy of the PDF, you can always reprint it. The other thing I did for you, now I haven't even done this for mine yet, is I found this online and somebody had created these little dots. So I went in and did the same thing. I went into my Word program and created these little tiny dots. And what they are is they've got the name of the marker on them, and then L and a D for light and dark. There's 4 for each marker set, so you can put them on each end of your marker right here. Because like normally we have our markers laying in their little holder sideways, which you always want to do. You want to store your markers sideways, because that keeps the ink from going all to one end, okay? And what you can do is take these, cut them out with a 3/8 inch hole punch. If, like me, I printed mine on a label adhesive sheet. If you don't have one of those, you can simply print it onto cardstock, use a 3/8 inch circle punch, punch it out, and use a glue dot to glue it to the end of your marker, okay? It's just a really quick way to locate your markers when they're sitting in their rack. Because sometimes some of the colors look really close. And you're like, oh, that's not the one I wanted to use. And you're having to pull them all out of the rack and figure out which ones are which. Now, for the naturals, I only did one set, okay? My naturals, I just leave, I can always just put them in there. To own it, I forgot to add the other set of circles there. But there you go. I hope this is helpful to you. These labels are only current colors, okay? If you have other colors, you'll have to make your own kind of labels for them. This one I did just with the current active colors at the time. And this is optional. You don't have to do this. This was something I saw and decided I would create and try it on my markers. So there you go. You have your homework. You want to create your color charts and swatches, okay? So do that before next Monday. And next Monday, we are going to, let's see, where's my little thing? What are we doing next Monday? On Monday, we are going to do, yep, I was right. We're going to do light source. At the end of this series, I'll have a PDF printout that I have links to my YouTube channel and to the previous classes or all the classes for you. But I hope this gets you started and you'll join me for this free, right? Yes, free mini-series on using alcohol markers and the Stampin' Blends. I hope you have a very happy Stampin' Day and have a great, bye-bye.